Coronation Weekend with the Lovelocks. Rough cut photo trail. And I'll start with a standard introduction. Sorry about the wind that's probably getting into the camera. Here we are at our address, 22 Armitage Court. Warning signs about cats, armed mice, where GPS was tested from the late 1980s at this spot here. Down below it is a bit of garden sculpture given by June Robin for his present. Robin's old car, yes, robot boats appear in the early part of this trial, and trackers being checked out, SATCOM's trackers used on the robot boats. One of Robin's projects recently completed somewhere for the dustbins to be hidden when that's down. And right, cut through here, there's the robot boat that's survived 6 weeks at sea, and current work is starting to repair and rather replace bits. So the early video for the first day is much of that. And yes, the camper that was used for the trip down to the sea to launch, and battle damage. June said Robin did it, Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Warning signs, have to point those out for health and safety reasons. Cameras everywhere, yes. And you need to read the small print about the water squirters. That's it, I've done the health and safety. Into the house. And I shot this video early on the last day because we got rain coming in. So there's the Met Office site, and the time is coming up to midday at the moment. Well, it looks as though we've got rain coming in, and by 2 o'clock it's coming into an area, and we thought we'd go down to a place that's open for the National Garden Scheme charity, and that'll be put at the back end of the photo trail. Right, I think quick rush through here to the kitchen, and yes, that was June's getting a few things, probably getting a snack for lunch. And this is work that was done recently, replastering, painting, and lots of work is needed, so we're on the lookout for handymen. And current work there, robot boat related, because we haven't tidied up and put things into the workshops, and our guard cat sleeping because he does most of his duty at night. That's Toady, isn't it? Hello, Toady. Yes, sorry to disturb you. Right, so that's enough. Yeah, I'm getting used to this camera. Rather than a big chunky camera or a smartphone, I prefer a pocket camera. Closed circuit TV that appears in a lot of the trials. And I grabbed the chance to shoot this intro and probably the wrapping up at the end in a pause before the rain comes in. So now into those long photo trails. And they are an aid to my memory, and made a little more powerful by being openly shared with anyone, particularly a few of my friends around the world. Okay, into those photo trails. This unscripted commentary will have mistakes and won't be in sync, but it might be better than nothing. Thursday the 4th of May 2023. And we took a trip into the bank in Woking and popped into a phone shop, looked at other phones I might consider using, but we didn't end up buying anything. So we took the trackers and Snoopy's robot boat everywhere we went over that long weekend. Tadpoles appearing in Air Pond, yes, a little royalty. The Indians just love frogs. And Toadie's checking out the cat forts, and you can see when he's in fort number 1 because a little light comes on. And there's Bentley from opposite patrolling our back garden, and it was when we went in for the votes. And some people would be surprised that they could actually see who I voted for. Then we popped into the Bansals to see the dog Romeo, have a cup of coffee and some cake and a chat. There's Raj on the right, there's Romeo, and it looks like we're back. I had a problem with my knee, and I had to go back down to the village anyhow. I lost my camera bag, and June is still down there. That's on her tracker, and there's some other trackers, spot trackers. These are taken wherever we go in the car. There's the go top tracker that we're checking out, and there's the reference position. Looks like I'm having supper there. Spot T2, again a spare tracker that's been checked out. There's the go top tracker. Wherever we go, we use the opportunity to check the trackers. And Friday was pub grub day, and June also had to go to the dentist, and we checked the weather because that often affects what we do. There's June. There's some robot boat stuff. So several jobs all going on at the same time. June at the tennis club, and me working on a spare rudder for the boat, so I have a reference rudder. So that's the process. There's Toadie, June having a snack, and Samantha continue on work there. And yes, I think June and Samantha went out, and right, that's her tracker. Carries on her handbag. Yeah, blog 10 has been created, show the nitty gritty of work on the robot boat, including making sure this time the still shaft has a flat filed on it. Oh yes, and make sure tools are put back in the right place. And that's important because that means that the lever arm can actually go into, oh yes, I used June's hob to solder the steel shaft onto a bit of brass, which is all part of the construction process for the rudder. Lovely bit of soldering. That then pops into a slot in the plywood before it's all coated with resin and fiberglass. Been using these materials for years and they work well. And that's where it pops into the boat. So, right, looks like pub grub. Yes, that was at the Red Line. Very enjoyable. Even though the beer did have some sediment at the bottom of it, I believe. So, then back to our place for coffee. Toadie having his lunch as well. Tennis. He having my coffee. Then a bit more work. Yes, this looks like the evening meal. And backwards and forwards doing different things. Collecting all the bits for the robot boat, and the pond being checked out on the off chance find a leak. Yes, some of the pictures are a bit fuzzy. Of course, I was also learning how to use a different camera. Foxes appearing to eat the peanuts on the closed circuit TV. Very enjoyable that. Ah yes, that's probably the looking after the event at the lads going back after coffee. Yeah, and looking out at night for leaks in the pond. Bit more work on the rudder, paint. Then Saturday the 6th of May. And of course that's Coronation Day. So a fair bit of the time was watching the television and the actual pageantry. King Charles. And of course other things are on the go, including pussycats and robot boat work. All in parallel. not always easy to see some of the glimpses there without a script. One can always freeze frame to read something that's not clear. Yeah, a lovely traditional ceremony, that. Queen Camilla. And of course King Charles spent his early years living just down the road from us at Windlesham Moor. Looking at the weather again, which is quite important in terms of what one does. Looks like the pussycat is joining us. There he is, watching the television or making a nuisance of himself while Robin looks at the closed circuit of his TV. Yes, he's decided to go and join the women. Bit more work on the robot boat. When I say work, it's often just a few minutes. Check with the paint dry. Ah yes, that was an invite for the Lasham Gliding Club. Oh yeah, more bits. Make sure we have plenty of spares, not only what we need, because bits aren't always available. That looks like getting close to the fly past. Yes, it was. Luckily the weather wasn't too bad. Yeah, the trackers, probably a trip going out somewhere, and can't remember where it was at the moment, but looks like we had a bit of rain. Oh yes, there was a radio control shot we saw for bits, and I thought I'd check it out, and then we went on from there to another place. Oh yes, we went via Laguna Park, which basically, I think, as it turned out, I took loads of pictures here, including the cameras and everything, but what we found out was that in fact it had been open earlier in the day, but the lucky thing is the guys came out and invited us in, and of course we were using it as a means of checking the trackers. So what you probably see here are the oh yeah, we were checking the trackers while we were there on the smartphone. So that's the patch of ground. So these pictures were all taken while we were there, looking at where the place was, and there's the lads. I say lads. Lovely place. So we had a chance to go in and take a few pictures, because we thought could be in slower time, apart from it being a nice place to visit, it might be practicable to check out a robot boat there as another place. So at another day we might better walk around and check out the place, but it looks as though it's all accessible. So then we went on to the next place, and that was probably Slough Radio Control Models, where I managed to get the stuff, but they'd moved location from before, but we found it okay. And then we returned home, past Ascot Racecourse, the Calls Hole in Sunninghill, and get back to our place. Go in. Yes, a few snaps of the various bits being collected, and check out the trackers. So there, so you can see the detailed track of the car, which was where we put the tracker. We're still checking it out on things. There's Toadie on the car, and this is the personal trackers that we've been using for years. Toadie on guard duty. Looks like I'm walking down to the village. Yes, I like that. There's, yeah, we're going to pop in and visit them. Yes, hello Romeo, hello Raj.
and Jazz. How you doing, Jazz? Andy. And yeah, their front garden before we go off to whatever we were going to do next. Get back home by the look of it. Yes, armed mice. Robin's corner used for testing GPS and the garden sculpture. Back to the front door. Probably checking out the trackers, including my tracker, the personal tracker, which obviously shows where I was actually walking. There we go, that's when we were there. Tracking is caring. Yeah, I like that slogan. June's rustling something up in the kitchen, but look at it. Ah, oil. Ah, she wanted me to give her a hand because she was making, that was it, she was making a cake for the next day. And it was at, there's the place back in the 80s with Samantha, yes, a little bit younger there, and there was a street party the next day, and these are some old pictures, and yeah, we had the WhatsApp chat because it was a Saturday night, so the video chat with family. Oh, I'm checking out some stuff there. Yes, can't remember the details what we were chatting about, but it doesn't matter. Oh, that's one of the Pussycats. That one was probably Lady of Michelle up in Coventry. Right, looks as though food is being rustled up. Oh, yes, video chat with Pussycat, and yes, cooking up some food. Oh yes, unfortunately Toadie decided to play with the pendant tracker. So I probably took my food into the naughty corner in the lounge while the women were in the kitchen eating, looked at the closed circuit TV, and yes, there's a fox, comes for the peanuts, and there's a hedgehog. And of course June then watches tennis while I watch the wildlife like a little hedgehog, and then I went out and took a picture of it with a camera that I'm still learning how to use properly. And then Sunday the 7th of May, and yes, usual scenes, Pussycat from opposite, Bentley, the chairs. This is getting the chairs ready to go round to the coronation party in Armitage Court, and Richard helped with moving the chairs in his vehicle. And what is it, something else being done, that's probably booking air flights for the Sicily holiday. Yeah, so we help set up, get ready. June wants her hand opening the bottle of Prosecco, I think it was. Lovely food all laid out that the women had put together, and it was time to enjoy it. The weather was absolutely lovely. Yeah, it was warm sunshine. Yeah, a few old friends there chatting, and a few people that we hadn't spoken to before as well. And yes, there's a particular guy. Yeah, young kids as well. One of the things we found out was the history of the place, and that was absolutely fascinating. Yeah, the optician, or more complicated word for the Queen. Meanwhile, lovely strawberry dessert. Loads of conversations going on. Drop of that. That was Pepsi Cola, I think, in the glass. There's Alf. Knowing Alf, he's probably chatting up the women. Oh yeah, I don't think I was asleep. I was just enjoying the sunshine. I was trying to show some of the old pictures that we've got on one of our web pages. Oh, a little doggy, lovely little doggy he was, yes. Oh yes, we had to get permission from the young ladies there who were managing a lot of it, and then we decided, well, yes, it was okay to take the chairs away, they said. They didn't want us to take all of them, but we did negotiate, and Samantha came with her car, and it was a lot easier getting it back. And of course Bentley was in the road waiting, so unstacked the chairs, and Toady relaxing in his fort, and then those chairs can be put back later. And of course June and Samantha watch tennis, and Toady, our pussycat, joins them, as so does Bentley. I take it easy. Oh, I had a bit of a doze, woke up. Oh, there's a snack. Well, better force myself to have something while they watch tennis. And Toady watches it as well. Toady then prowling around because I decided to move the chairs where they're normally kept, and checked out, I needed to fix that light. It got jammed. And then June said, the dustbins have got to go out. And yes, that was catching down there. Oh, what's that? Yeah, frog. That, or a toad, not sure. I think it was probably a toad. But he was okay. Toady prowling around. I put the peanuts out. And yeah, that's the boat still there. Then we watched that lovely concert. It just happened to be when I took a picture, because the scenes were changing very quickly, so it was quite difficult to catch any particular picture. So that was probably me checking out, moving the dustbins. Oh yes, I think I was sorting that out. And the local news, and tennis being watched, and me watching, yes, a fox arriving for peanuts. Pussycats relaxing. And then Monday the 8th of May, and yes, there's a bit of processing of this video. Passport, St. June said, crikey, your passport has expired, and so we've got to go through the process of submitting one online. And it didn't like the photograph that June took. It said you couldn't see that the eyes were looking at you. But anyhow, we've submitted the paperwork, and hopefully it will be acceptable, but we had to pay anyhow. So we've paid the money for the passport. We'll see whether it's accepted, and then we've got an appointment, time and date. And that's checking the journey to the passport office. There's obviously got to have some contingency plans. Then, yes, a lovely trip down to the garden open for the National Garden Scheme charity, Crosswater Farm. That was the camera deciding to use a flash. So that was the route down. So you're talking about less than 40 minutes in that ballpark. Yes, there's Bentley and Toady relaxing, so they're looking after the house, well, apart from Samantha, of course. And yeah, so we'll be off soon. And yeah, check the trackers. So any journey, we use it as a opportunity to check the trackers, sometimes including on foot. And so there's June driving, because I still am not allowed to drive. due to the saga with the DVLA, I decided to have some food on the way down. Had a banana, a bit of graffiti, and yeah, so we're using the sat-nav going past French and Ponds, I think that was. And we had been to this place before, but we didn't really recognise it until we got there, and it was a lovely place. And there was a garden centre that specialised in rhododendrons. That's looking at the rain radar to confirm, yeah, we should be okay. The rain's not going to be reaching us for a while. So we had a chance to have a nice relaxed walk around the garden, and of course lots of stuff. There you are, there's some text, you can always stop on that if you want to read the details. So we were walking around, a lot of it was rhododendrons, there was other stuff as well, lovely plants. And so we had a walk round, and then we were able to stop. Yeah, lovely sundial that, and it's, of course, if you stop it you can read the inscription on it. June was taking some pictures. None of her pictures are in this video photo trail. And so we carried on walking around, and we then stopped for coffees and some cakes. So it was a lovely collection of rhododendrons. I wouldn't be able to name them all. There was a new house being built there, tucked away. Ponds. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that plant. Well, I don't know. And yeah, there's a pond. Yeah, that pond was quite a large one, jolly nice. And of course, Gunnera. And I'm hoping our Gunnera in the garden to kind of come up nicely this year. You see a horse across the field. So we carried on the walk round that pond. We were effectively going around the edge of the property. Please mind the orchids, so they've got orchids planted alongside the path there. Not sure what that plant was. It might have been a pollarded tree or something, don't know. And then we're moving back to where we got our cakes and coffee, which is very enjoyable. And so we went from there, continued our walk a bit more. Of course, everything is coming into bloom now. June taking more photos. Bluebells. Yeah. And that's it, Crosswater Farm. So we're off away now to go back home. Bye bye horses. And that's the route. But we decided to swing past somewhere on the way back. I wanted to get some pens. And so we thought WH Smith is the obvious place. And I managed to get them. And then popped into Waitrose and got some Red Bull. So it didn't cost us a lot of time. And so we're still on our way back now. And of course, no note that we're familiar with. And then of course it sorts itself out and says, oh right, okay, that's the way you're going. So we give the directions. So we're getting close to home now, coming past the Beresteed into our drive. So we've got home. Yes, there's Bentley to greet us, and Toadie. Hello, Bentley. And so what am I doing now? I'm probably going to look at the mapping and how well the trackers worked. So that's the spot tracker that is in the car, or just being carried around in the car, which is going to go in the boat, and that seemed to work fine. Just running off its little internal battery, even though it says it's flat, and we're just going to keep running it until it stops working. Then we know what its limitations are. And then the other tracker Spot T2 is a so-called spare spot tracker that I've kept in a box and tended to use that to experiment with things. There's the Go-Top tracker. There's two of those being carried in the car. One is sort of bolted in the car, if you call it that, one screw. That shows its track. A detailed track of where it went, that looked good. Then my personal tracker and what route we took, including the walk around the gardens. Tracking is caring, yeah, nice slogan. Toadie, hello Toadie. And June's got some food being cooked. Toadie's come into the lounge. What's the weather like? Ah, looks as though we won't be getting the rain till quite late. About 8:30 in the evening. So that's looking good. So maybe that's the end of the photo trail.
I warned you they would be long photo trails, so it only remains to say, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.